Hail to the king, baby.
Hello everybody, it's me, it's Michael B, and I'm going to be honest with you, I had absolutely no intention of doing a show tonight, but someone dropped some pretty big news today, finally coming out, officially announcing their company. John D is back, and he's now officially released Media1Up. What is this company? What could it be? What could they be doing? And a little bit of backstory from my conversations with John today about his company. Anyways, tonight's going to be a super fun show. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. This is Chillin' Chat with Michael B. Hey everybody, so I am doing something different. As you guys know, I no longer use Restream, StreamYards, any of that stuff. I was having a bunch of problems with it, so I actually switched over to OBS, which typically only allows me to do this by myself. But I figured some stuff out here today. I'm somewhat of a scientist, and I actually have somebody coming on with me to do the show tonight. So it's not John. John is in the comments. John's not ready to come on camera, so I apologize if anybody's disappointed by that. But you should be pretty excited to see who my guest is. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only 19K Fox. Now, the beautiful thing about this is you guys can see Fox, you can hear Fox, I can hear Fox, he can hear me, but he can't see me because my camera's going through OBS, not the program we're connected on, so he has no idea what I look like, what I'm wearing, the fact that I'm fully naked. He has no clue.
One of the most disturbing things I've ever been a part of. Thank you so much, Mike, for having me. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's really weird. So just some more behind the scenes for everybody watching. I can't see Mike at all. I can't see the presentation, anything. So I've got another tab open, and I can see the live stream up there, but it has a delay. So I'm watching Mike speak and hearing him about 5 seconds in the future. It's weird. Thanks for having me, Mike. I appreciate it.
Carlo says female viewership just went up 1,000%. Cornercade is saying John D, let's go. JJ says you're not missing anything. 19K Fox. Yeah, I'm not a sight to look at. You're not really missing anything.
You're a gorgeous man. Stop it.
I know, right? Anyways, I spent all my time before the show getting this ready, so I forgot to actually do anything else. So I wanted to bring this up. Let's see if I can do it.
You had one job.
One job, and I screwed it up. I had one job to get ready, and then I didn't do it. There he is. John D will be in the chat all night long, giving you the deep, dark, most intimate secrets of his life. Get ready for it. And Goofyfoot knows, 19K Fox, all of India is now watching, thanks to you being here.
I'm big in India. Really big. Big deal.
So really quickly, a little bit earlier on, let's see if I can go back and find this, or if it's too early. We did have a super chat from our buddy Kevin Clausen. Where is John D? Will he save us? So anyways, 19K Fox, can you throw to this super chat?
If I could only see it.
If you could only see it, that's right. He made fun of me before the show. He said, you're the cheapest man ever. Refused to get StreamYards. Anyways, you know what happens when we get a super chat? We got to give the people what they want.
What they want.
All right, we're back. Let me take that off the screen and get caught up with everybody. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. So let's go over this. John D, we've kind of known about this for a while. In fact, the whole community's kind of known about it. There's Reddit threads about Media1Up. It's like one of the worst kept secrets for a very long time now, but Media1Up is now official. Fox, what's your thoughts on Media1Up?
Well, I'm first of all glad that John is not completely abandoned the space that he kind of helped found and create. I think he has a lot of love for it. So it's good to see that he wasn't shunned. He's back. That's good. Media1Up suggests, I think, a couple things. It's not just WeMakeGames.com or LLC. So I think it implies other stuff. So it's interesting. I'm just excited, I think, like most people are, that there's something else going on out there besides, the standard players in the game. I think we know kind of what they do. And I think we want something different, somebody to spice it up, bring us something, exciting. And I think that I'm hoping, knock on wood, that's something that John can deliver.
Yeah, I think that's the big statement here. We all got into this hobby for a variety of different reasons. Like Fox, obviously you've turned back now. You've gone out and got commercial arcades or coin ops, whatever you want to call them.
Well, I swing both ways.
Yeah,
let's be fair.
I've heard. So anyways, I see that you went out and you got your commercial arcades back, and that's something that you used to do before. But one of the things that kind of brought you back into this hobby was the ease and access of Arcade1Up, being able to go out and get these things relatively cheaply, very little maintenance, and be able to, get that arcade nostalgia. And really, throughout our time collecting these things, a lot of other companies have come out with products, but no one's really stood up and been competition for Arcade1Up or offered a similar style product. You can say At Games, but At Games isn't the exact same thing. They're not recreating an original arcade cabinet. They're offering a open source multi-cade. Talk about iArcade, exact same thing again. Machine is awesome. It was a great concept, but it wasn't a direct competitor to Arcade1Up. It was a different product. Closest thing we ever had is a company you're pretty familiar with, Unico. Unico created the MVSX.
I've heard of them, yeah.
That's the only time anybody really came out and created something that was a product that fit, the idea and the concept of what made Arcade1Up so special to us. No one else has done it, so we've been waiting a long time now for someone else to step up. Like, specifically right now, I looked at what kind of turned me off from Arcade1Up recently was the recent release of the NBA Jam Deluxe Cabinet 2-player edition. How they changed the form factor, how there was some concerns that would be the form factor going forward, moving farther and farther away from what I wanted to see the company do and seemingly going in a new direction. So it's good to see a new company come up like this that may or may not be making arcade cabinets, may or may not. And then also, I did want to talk about, we got the hope of new weight toys, but even though Shiloh said nothing's for certain. So it's good to see other players here in the game.
Absolutely. And it's, I think it's a combination of things. Yes, with Arcade1Up coming on the scene, it was a common point that we could share with the audience. Yeah. We could say, hey, go to Walmart, go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's, go to Best Buy, wherever. Go to a store, buy this thing, and we can talk about it and share that experience. You couldn't do that with the full-size arcades like I have behind me. I still have a lot of Arcade1Ups. I think I'm about half and half now in my arcade. But yeah, it was something we could all participate in, and it was a lot of fun. And you could modify them and customize them and do all kind of stuff. And so it built up this community. And the only, probably to your point, Unico was the only one that really stepped in. And at this point, I think it's the lack of creativity at Arcade1Up. It's the fact that they're, doing things that are completely unnecessary as far as the form factors go with games they've already had kicking around. It's just like, what are you doing? I don't know what you're doing. And I think it's sometimes we get critical of Arcade1Up, and I'm not necessarily a hater, but I'm going to call like I see it. If I think something is stupid, the company's going the wrong direction, I'm just going to say it. But when they do something good, I'm going to say that too. So yeah, I think competition is great because at the end of the day, the consumer wins. And so if we can have, even if John D just brings a couple cabinets, or maybe there's not a lot of hardware, but there's some hardware, there's some thing out there that Arcade1Up has to compete against, that's going to drive them to hopefully do something different and actually compete.
I got to move this up on the screen because it was down a long message. So let me bring this up from Officially Unofficial. I think this is you, Mark Patrick. So thank you very much, brother. Look, all I want is new home arcades that are not Pac-Man or the same rehash stuff we've been getting. Help us, John D. And what up, 19K Fox, Michael B. the Game Genie. Much love, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Officially Unofficial. Greatly appreciate the super chat. And unfortunately, John did give me the go-ahead to announce that his first cab is, in fact, going to be Pac-Man. So, sorry. I'm joking on that. I have no idea. No idea. But thank you so much for the super chat. And you know what happens when we get a super chat? You got to give the people what they want.
They want.
Anyways, I think I ended that one a little bit early. So thank you very much, Officially Unofficial. Greatly appreciated. P-Dubs knows Mike always doxing people. Hold on here now. I got a little kink in the armor here.
So I have no idea what that means.
Mike
Chink in the armor?
Kink or chink? Chink in the armor is a correct term. Yeah, I say kink.
Yeah. Kink is something you put on. That includes armor. Yeah. It's no judgment zone here. It's fine.
Just got a big kink thing. And Mike always doxing people. That's not true. Tell him, 19K Fox, when you're home in
oh my God,
Cincinnati, Ohio.
I've already had to move twice, Mike. Stop.
Anyways, so let me get into it a little bit. First off, John reached out to me today and talked to me a lot, sent me a bunch of stuff that I'm going to go over here tonight. He's not ready to come on camera, but he did want to give me some information. The first thing that I really want to cover here is why John has done that. I don't know if you guys remember, but years and years ago, John took like an absence. Like he took basically a leave of absence from Arcade1Up, a leave of absence from basically everything,
social media,
all that stuff. And when he did that, no one knew whether or not he was going to be coming back. And then John did come back, and he came back on my show. The reason why was John's stepfather at the time, he was watching this stuff with John, news about his son and stuff like that. He was interested. And he told John, he was like, this Michael B guy, this is the guy I want you to come back on. I think he'd be the best person for you to talk to. So that's why John said, I want to come back on your show. Unfortunately, a little bit of sad news. For those of you that are friends with John D on Facebook, his stepfather recently passed away, and John said one of the reasons why he was excited to see me talk about Media1Up, specifically on the show tonight, was in honor of his stepfather. So let me just bring it up. I just want to make sure I've got the name 100% right, because I'm really bad with names. I apologize. But his father's name was Mark Folletti. He passed away recently. Very sorry for your loss, John. And yeah, this is my shout out to Mark. Thank you very much for convincing your son to come on my show and helping me out and come back to the community, because we got some good stuff after John came back for a little while there. So yeah.
No, absolutely. I think it's tough, man, when you lose somebody in your life that has made a big impact. And obviously, I don't know Mark. Sadly, I never get a chance to meet the guy ever, but obviously made an impact on John. And John's a pretty creative guy, been around for a while. So yeah, it's tough, but I think it's hopefully in some way can serve as motivation to keep pushing on. I think John should absolutely do that, continue to push on, because I think there's still a lot of creativity in that brain of his, and there's more to give to the community and more that he wants to do to scratch that itch, I think. So hell yeah, keep on pushing.
So another person in the community John wanted to talk about tonight, and he wanted to mention, was somebody in the community we all know. This person's a moderator on Facebook groups. He's involved with different companies and stuff like that. That's Adam Kalb. I recently mentioned Adam in one of my videos because he sent me some news on the Arcade1Up loan. But Adam Kalb has actually been helping John out a little bit too with guidance and advice. So he wanted to say a huge thank you to Adam Kalb for helping him out in that way. So Adam, if you're out there somewhere in the ether, John says thank you very much.
Adam's
Surprisingly,
another stand-up dude.
yeah, Adam's all
Another
right.
good guy. Yeah.
Surprisingly, he didn't say anything about you. He actually said, "Make sure 19K Fox knows this is in spite of him."
Yeah. No, he made that clear to me too when I reached out for comment. It was hurtful, it's painful, but I do the same thing I always do. I just bury it deep down inside and never
Yeah.
bring it up again.
All right, so enough beating around the bush. So, what is Media1Up? Let's talk about the name first. So, this is the name that John went with. It's eerily similar to Arcade 1Up in many ways, but I think the way that it was explained to me, it's not meant to be really a shot across the brow. It's meant to explain what he's trying to do. So, from John's standpoint, the Media1Up part, the 1Up, in gaming terms, 1-up usually means new life or a new chance, another chance. So the 1-up in their name, it's not necessarily a shot in the bow across the bow towards Arcade 1-up, but this means this is a second chance for him to get back into this space and give it another go, to do it again. So that's where that part comes from. Now the media specifically is they don't want to limit themselves to just doing hardware. They want to basically do an out there multi-concept, so that's the name. So Fox, honest opinion, what do you think of the name?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think I thought the same thing too. I thought 1-up was kind of a slight towards Arcade 1-up, maybe a little bit too similar. But I get it. It makes a lot of sense. You got to have game in there if you're going to have media preceding that, and media, I think, is very interesting. Like I said, I mean, if it was just going to be arcades, you would think that it would be very focused on arcade content or arcade stuff. But because it says media, that is very interesting. And I think it's a good idea not to limit yourself. It's going to, sometimes we see some of these companies kind of hit a wall. They can only do so much, whether it's licensing, whatever. Leaving it open to something as broad as media, it gives me, like I said, hope that there's going to be something creative and different out there besides maybe just some of these cabinets. So yeah, it's at first I was kind of like, huh? But with that explanation, it gives me hope for, like I said, something different in many different ways besides just hardware.
Yeah. So one of the things about Arcade 1-up, the name of it, it really limits you and puts you in a box. So like when Arcade 1-up,
arcade stuff.
yeah, you kind of got to do Arcade 1-up arcade stuff. So when Arcade 1-up comes out with the Infinity Game Board or the Polaroid thing, everybody's like, "The fuck is this?"
It's not an arcade.
So it's a good idea to put that option out there. Now there is, I think, a little bit of a shot across the bow. A little bit, because if you look at the actual up in the logo, you'll notice a very distinct color, and that color
it's a middle finger. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No. They went with red. Now Arcade 1-up, if you look at their logo, it's white, and then the 1-up is in blue. Media 1-up has red. So I mean, opposing colors. Maybe that was intentional, not intentional. What do you think?
I think intentional. I think it's a stark contrast. Some consider red to be the opposite of blue. Also, sometimes player 1, player 2, you have blue and red. Like on the T2 guns, for example. So maybe there's it does sort of suggest that maybe they're opposing forces, maybe they're collaborative forces.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Now, see, me personally, I wouldn't have went with the name Media 1-up. I would have went with John D's Wicked Awesome Arcade Company. But apparently that's not as catchy. I don't know.
John D's Games?
John D's Games. So a little bit of information here from Biz Profile. Media 1-up LLC was created. It looks like, where's the date here? April 8th, 2024. So that was when it was officially brought into life. So it's been live since April. So why, if it went live in April, is it only coming up now?
I think that maybe, just maybe, there's something to be announced, maybe.
You think there's something to be announced?
In the not too distant future. I would imagine so. I mean, we knew about the LLC for a little bit, actually. It kind of popped up and it made the rounds on the different shows. And John even kind of popped up and showed himself at a licensing convention. He did cover up his name tag. He tried to, but Super Sleuths used their X-ray goggles and saw through his fingers and saw the name of the company. So, there is something to be said about jumping out there too early, and maybe if you don't have something to show, what's the point of talking about it? So I'm hoping that maybe before the end of the year, we could be looking at something, whether it's hardware, software, something that would be interesting. So at least that's what I'm hoping is the reason why he's finally, like the groundhog showing his head.
Yep. So the reason why that I think John came up, one of the questions was when John left Arcade 1-Up, a lot of people questioned whether or not John had a no-compete clause.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
And whether he did or not really doesn't matter anymore because the FTC's ban on non-complete agreements went into effect September 4th. It goes into effect September 4th. So
that's weird. That's just a couple days from now, Mike.
Yeah.
Huh. Huh.
So I guess, whether or not John had a non-compete clause really doesn't matter anymore. But it should lead to the fact that obviously he did, but it's no longer valid anymore because of the FTC ruling.
Which is great news for a lot of people who currently have non-competes in different, and they exist in all different occupations. I actually have a non-compete also. If I were to leave the company I work for in the package ice industry, I couldn't just go work for another company for 2 years. But at least that's all gone out the window now. So not that I'm looking to leave, but they exist in different forms. So yeah, I mean, I think that definitely does. It's an interesting fact you just happen to know off the top of your head.
Yeah, it's
great.
weird. It's almost like somebody sent it to me or something.
It's with the express purpose of reading it tonight. It's so weird. Maybe so, but I still hope that there's something to show.
Yeah.
The name is cool. Going officially official is cool. But yeah, I hope that there's something, that's cooking that maybe he can show us in the next couple months.
Yeah, and that's what we're hoping as well. I talked to John. He doesn't know how soon they're going to be able to show anything, but we're getting a little ahead of ourselves right now. So let's talk about what Media 1-Up is right now. Right now, from what I understand, it's a team of talented individuals that are willing to utilize their skills in the home arcade space to put out products, but also to assist other companies potentially put out products as well. So this is going to be part home arcade company and also part consulting firm. That makes sense to you?
Like the A-Team.
Yeah, like the A-Team. So
exactly like the A-Team.
John has told me he's got a team of individuals that are already working. Of course, John is going to be bringing his skills and expertise. And as we know, whether you like John, you don't like John, whatever your opinions are, he was very good on the licensing side for Arcade 1-Up. He managed to not only get them every license, but also put in like a very hard exclusivity in their form factor, I guess you would call it, in the toy section, that nobody else could utilize the majority of these licenses, right?
I know for a fact he's helped a couple other companies acquire some of these licenses, acquire some of these things. I think he really does. Like I said, to each his own. I know not everybody is a fan of John D, but I think that he does have a genuine excitement about these games,
Passion,
about these.
Yeah.
It's just, and I think he really wants to help other people. So the fact that this is a media company, it's not just hardware. I think it just speaks to probably one of his strengths. He just wants to see these things sort of come to fruition, and whatever form that takes, and he wants to be a part of that. I think it's a win-win. And listen, if he can make a little money for some consulting fee or something, maybe it doesn't have to be a hardware sale. That's fine with me.
So officially unofficial, look, we just need MichaelBtheGameGenie, 19K Fox, P-Dub's Arcade Loft to start a home arcade company and work with John D. Then we might get what we want. I will tell you.
Well, they're assuming that we're not a part of Media 1-Up.
Don't start that rumor, Fox.
We're talented individuals, Mike.
Well, I don't know how talented I am.
I mean, come on.
Last time I tried to help with a home arcade product, people are still crapping on the Aladdin Games Legends Ultimate 4K.
But you said you didn't design that, so see, now you're contradicting yourself.
No, I helped. I gave advice.
Move on. I'm just messing with you.
So anyways, I've openly said if I ran a home arcade company, I'd be out of business in a week. Like, I'd come out and I'd be like, Robotron 2084, and then we'd just all be out of money. I'd give everybody everything they wanted, and we go to business right away. So that is what it is. Yeah, Prince Malcolm says, I saw Ghostbusters in that Media1Up intro. That would be amazing, especially for the huge Ghostbusters fan base. I'll send this to Jason over at Ghostbuster News. John, praying for you. Congrats also. Thank you very much for the super chat, Prince Malcolm. Greatly appreciated. Thank you very much, brother. I do want to tell you, I've actually got an updated version of that video. So the video that came out earlier, I've got some behind-the-scenes news on that. That one is more... like a resume of stuff John's worked on over the years. That's not necessarily talking about what's coming to the company. But what I do have is an updated version of the video that also gives thanks to the person who made the video, which is another community member that's working with John and helping him. But it's also got some great hints in there onto what John may have coming and what he's working on. So I'll show you that in a second. But before we get to that, Fox... you know what time it is. We got to give the people what they want.
Oh, yeah.
So, very much thank you, Prince Malcolm. I got to take you off screen for a second, Foxy, because I got to play this video, so you're not going to be able to see it or hear it. You just sit there and wait for me to come back in my very ghetto streaming setup.
This is the greatest time of my life.
So anyways, guys, I got a video to show you now that's sent over from John D. Very much thank you, John, for sending this over. And what this is an updated version of the video that was shown earlier on his website and everything. And this one has a new end screen. And it also has some hints and teasers in there for games that John may be working on. So you're going to want to pay close attention to this when I bring it up on screen. I just got to figure out how to do that. Hold on. Just give me 1 second, and I really hope I don't get some kind of copyright claim off this, but I definitely am. But we'll try it anyways. All right, guys, so... forgive me. This takes a while. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
That's what he said.
Hold on. Hold on. Got to put it on the other one. There we go.
Can't even see what's going on.
Raise it bit by bit. Okay.
Let me tell you about the Protopulture.
If you don't know the culture, here's the whole structure.
We had enough of the lackluster. Trust us, we get the kind of game you can win in Blockbuster.
Game related, raise it bit by bit. Yo, D, link up the cable, we'll go hit for hit. Phantasma. Raise.
So that's right, guys. We've got some people from the community involved. We already found out about Adam Cal. We now know Bobby Vu, clean like a mother, is also helping John out. Bobby actually is the person who did that video. There's a couple messages in there, so I want you guys to take a look at the video. And in the video, you can see that there's several games there that we'll talk about in a minute. But the important thing coming out of that, we've got the updated logo, so it's not the green logo with the 1UP character. And then at the end, we see Bobby's stuff. But the big message there is they talk about the proto-culture. And if you go to John's LinkedIn and you looked at his stuff, he's got a new slogan or new, I don't know what it is, buzz term that's coming out where it's Media1Up, the purveyors of proto-culture. Now, from what I understand, proto-culture is a term I don't really get, but it means kind of nostalgia. So the idea is they're the purveyors of nostalgia. Fox, what do you think of that as like a mission statement for the company?
Similar to protoplasm, isn't that correct? That's a different. Sorry, dude. Yeah, it's you got to quantify what you're all about, and you know, pop culture is a pretty vague term now.
Oh
It's
yeah,
been
big time.
capitalized and scavenged to hell and gone. So yeah, it's cool. You got to start with the mission statement. How does that materialize? What does that turn into? Mission statements are great, but what are we going to get out of the deal? What is he going to provide? And like I said, it is more than just hardware. It's media, it's software. I want to see what forms these things take. I don't know. So it's interesting. So yeah, I mean, throw that out there. The mission statement, that's great. We're getting more information about the name. I'm curious to see what are they cooking? What's going on? What's going on in the kitchen? Could we get a peek? Could we get a look? Could we get a little taste? That's what I really dying for.
We need something more substantial, but I want to go over some of the frames that were in this thing coming up. One of the very first things I'll notice is there's a very distinct Q*bert background there. So one of the cabs people have always wanted from Arcade1Up is in fact Q*bert. We saw the leak list of the Q*bert Tetris conglomeration cab that they were going to make and put out. But very clearly one of the slides here is in fact Q*bert. I also see a slide here for Contra. Also got one for bowling. As it goes on, there's also ones with Golden Axe, some other Sega games. So I mean, like, they're promising a lot from these slides here. If these are in fact teasers, I mean, there's some cool shit here. We've got Golden Axe.
The biggest shock of all is some of those Capcom associated tiles. I had no idea that he would even be able to acquire that license.
Oh yeah, John D wouldn't be able to get Capcom. That's a huge surprise for us.
I know, that's crazy. I know. No, but okay. So talking about Sega though, right? It's been long rumored that Arcade1Up was kind of squandered and wasted, and maybe even that license is now gone. We haven't seen any other Sega titles. And if you take a look behind me, Sega is a huge presence in arcades.
Oh,
so
yeah.
is it? I mean, listen, it's any kind of Sega collaboration in any form or fashion would be awesome.
So you know this as well as I know this. There's problems with Sega and Arcade1Up. One is Sega has a huge price point. Like, they want a ton of money anytime they do any kind of collaboration, right? Mm-hmm. So in order to use Sega, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. Then on top of that, most of the games people want from Sega aren't going to run on Arcade1Up's current hardware. I mean, they need something a little bit more beefy and a little bit more substantial. Then again, most of these games also require some kind of commercial emulator to be built to use them. So unless there's a commercial emulator already out there that can run the games, Arcade1Up can't even touch them. So Sega's a tough one, a really tough one. But, you know, John's thrown it out there. Sega's in the list. It looks like, you know, we might not ever get the stuff we want from Sega from Arcade1Up, but someone's going to get them. Whether that's Media1Up or whether that's another company they consult with, I guess we'll see.
Well, we know that Sega's doing something with their old properties or bringing those back in some form or fashion. They're making their way to consoles. So is it possible we could see some of those, some new collaboration? Yeah, I mean, I think that it's going to require obviously a lot of hoops to jump through, but you know, John's been fairly good at that. He did get the Golden Axe cabinet. That deal was done while he was there. So, you know, it's not outside the realm of possibility. I will say though that the audience is saying that I'm echoing. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Have we found a flaw in this setup that you have here?
What do you mean? You're echoing?
They're saying that my audio
desktop audio came on. Yeah. That's why. There you go.
Oh, okay. You got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Got it fixed.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Got it fixed.
Sorry, guys.
So Sega, okay, big fan.
Yeah.
Did you see anything else in there that excites you, that gets you going?
Well, everything excites me, John. Everything excites me, Fox. I'm easily excitable.
Everything.
Everything excites me. I see, you know, Operation Wolf. I see some Final Fight back there. No, not Final Fight, but Fatal Fury. So, I mean, there's a good assortment of games there. When I saw the first trailer, like, that went up, or, you know, really, we saw the trailer a little earlier. I was looking at it and I was like, there's Bionic Commando Rearmed. Like, what the hell is he making here? Another iArcade? So seeing this makes me feel a lot more comfortable that this is going to be steeped in arcade history. When he talks about the purveyors of nostalgia, seeing this second video definitely makes me feel a little bit better about it.
Yeah, because when you talk about nostalgia, we're talking about, you know, traveling back in time and being in that time, immersed in that time. And you're not going to really do that if the form factor is way off, if the controls are completely way off, if you're trying to make another, multicade, which there's nothing wrong with multicades. Multicades are fine, but to really capture nostalgia, you have to capture that experience. And that's going to be, you got to get a lot of components right. You got to get that formula's got to be just right. Arcade1Up was on their way to getting there. They're stumbling, I think, as of late, but they were very much on their way to getting there, I think. Cabinet shapes and all that were really coming. They were getting fine-tuned, and we were looking at some like actual bangers, like real bangers that were coming out that we were excited about. And then they've kind of stalled. So can he pick up the baton and run with that? But I think it's going to have to be all of it, right? It's going to have to be the game and the right hardware, the right cabinet, the right atmosphere, all that stuff. So it's I think he's got the experience as far as knowing that line that you have to walk for sure.
So we know John, but let's talk about the rest of the team and what we know. So ThinkUp was a huge part of Arcade1Up. If you go back to their court filings and you listen to the history, I mean, ThinkUp basically created Arcade1Up. That's what they intimate, right? In their court filings, in their conversations. So we do know that on John's team, he does have former employees of ThinkUp. Not ThinkUp themselves, so not Jerry, but other people that work there. Yeah.
Okay. No, I didn't know that. That is a shocker. That's something new we didn't know. So now we know it. And or now the audience knows it. I mean, poach those creative forces, especially now that some of them are out of a job. Unfortunately, we heard about ThinkUp going through all those. It was so brutal. And to have those rounds of layoffs happen, to have some of these individuals land on their feet and get back into this community is awesome.
Yeah, we knew that anyways. One ThinkUp went under. I mean, we had conversations with John, and he talked about it. He said, I'm gonna go try to find as many of these people jobs as I can. So that was kudos to him for doing that, right? So he's bringing in some great minds from ThinkUp. He's got some former Arcade1Up employees as well coming in working with him. So he's told me he's got big time sales experience. We may already have retailers in place. I can't say specifically which ones, but if you go to his LinkedIn profile, like, you can see the connections he has. So things are really shaping up, it seems, not just for them to be a consulting firm, but actually put a product out there. And if John does a product, the way that he was with Arcade1Up, it's going to be the way that we want. I mean, pretty much, if I had to take a guess on them doing a physical product, I mean, it would be safe to assume that it would possibly be something Capcom related. It's something Street Fighter related.
That's just crazy enough to work, Mike. I don't know. I think that's safe to assume. John's also a guy you can talk to, and if you say something like Dynamo cabinet, he knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, he gets some of the nuance that most people wouldn't understand. The generic shark fin shape was fine for those first and second generations, but by the third generation, we were seeing them again and wanted something more. And
Star Wars ruined it, because we saw Star Wars and we
that's
were like,
the problem.
This could be so much better.
Well, after you hit a home run, all you want is home runs, and that was absolutely a home run. And I'm still kicking myself for selling that damn cabinet.
Damn it, we both thought the XL was coming, right?
I know, man. I was so wrong.
And like, I'm looking everywhere, and I'm looking for any bit of hope I can. So we'll see.
It's sad, but I've got a different Star Wars product coming, so I'm holding out hope for sure.
What a stupid investment! You should have just bought a pinball table, pinball machine.
Nah,
right.
Bro. Oh yeah, that's right. You gotta get that right. No. I'm still not making pinball money, but someday, Mike. Someday.
Anyway, so the team that's going in there, we've got former ThinkUp employees, we got former Arcade1Up employees, so they've got a brain trust, and from what John's told me, they're open for business. They're willing to talk to anybody, to help anybody. So that's all home arcade companies, including their former employer, Arcade1Up.
That's the question, isn't it? And that's listen, first off, you got to swallow a lot of pride to take that on. But if you're really committed to the community and getting stuff out there, product out there, it's wise not to burn that bridge and to, offer assistance where you can. And I don't know. That's pretty cool. They got a lot of Arcade One Up has a lot of stuff in place. A lot of production is in place. I mean, is it really beneficial to try to destroy another company, go back and forth, and get caught up in that? I don't think so. So the fact that they're willing to work with One Up is cool. Now, will they be willing to work with John? Who knows? But if personalities,
that's an awkward situation, right?
It's an awkward situation,
I know,
right? But grown-ups,
I know John's open,
opinions
but like
aside.
obviously because of situations, like certain companies that probably wouldn't be interested in. Like I don't think like Glenn would be sitting there and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna hire these people to help us. I mean, obviously they were burned in the past. There's not a good relationship there, so that's not someone he would work with. And Arcade One Up might feel a little bit awkward too, but if they're in a situation and they need the help, so.
Well, I mean, a lot of things. One thing that just really rules everything else is money. I mean, if there's money to be made, if you can put personalities aside, and that requires everybody involved to put their personalities aside. But if there's some money to be made, you can overlook some stuff and listen, maybe bygones, maybe hatchets can be buried and cool stuff can be made. Who knows? But it's interesting for sure. Interesting topic to discuss for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So, Fox, what do you think the next steps are for Media One Up? I mean, obviously, they've announced, but now the thing is, now that it's out there, now we need to know what they're going to do. So, I'm hoping that this announcement isn't followed by a very long lull period, because if you're going to put your name out there, you say you're going to do something, you kind of got to strike while the iron's hot. If you're working on your own product, give somebody something relatively soon. Or if you're working on something with another company that's coming out soon, give somebody a little something. Like there's obviously tight connections there with Unico and John D. People have worked there for a while. Do you think there's a possibility Unico maybe could look at John as a partner and work on something together? I mean, there has been a rumor possibly about an updated MVSX, maybe something a little bit bigger. Is that something this team could have worked on together? Or could work on together? Yeah.
Absolutely. In multiple products. I think that it's the rumors are swirling for sure. Are they working with Unico? I think that they have at some point. What they've developed, who knows? I think that a good thing that let's take a page from At Games, a schedule, a calendar. Maybe you can't show me a physical, tangible thing, but maybe you could kind of put a roadmap out there. Hey, listen, this is what we're thinking. This is what this is the avenues we're pursuing. I mean, it doesn't have to be a physical product. It could just be kind of here's our goals. Here's what we're shooting for. Here's what we're working on. Obviously, they can't share everything and maybe not all of the details, but, it would be cool to see a collaboration announced between two different companies, and then the speculation can just boil over from there just based on that announcement. So more information is good, but you don't want to share too much. So I would start maybe with just kind of a roadmap of where Media One Up is going to go and the influence they plan to have and where they're going to have it.
Got a question here from great community member with a very clean and not at all offensive name. Mike Hawk Hertz says, 19K Fox, will you be involved with Media One Up in any way?
Will I ever in the future? Who's to say? Am I currently now? No. I'm like many other community members. I've spoken to John on a couple occasions, but if I'm asked to help out, I'd definitely be open to working with him in some way. The details of that, I have absolutely no idea. It's all speculation.
Yeah, and I know from conversations, I mean, John's open to talking to anybody. Like, he's open to talking to anybody about the company. So, I mean, content creators, like, if you're out there and you want more information, reach out to John. He'd be happy to, talk to you. John, despite all the negative things people say about him and different things like that, he does have a passion for what we do here, in a way much like Shiloh. He appreciates what the YouTubers do. He's a very big fan of YouTube, so, connect with him that way. And if you want to get information and cover this stuff, that's something you should absolutely do. But he's also looking for interesting people that can help him with his business model and stuff like that too. So if you feel you have something to offer, also reach out to him. You never know. I'm drinking beer tonight, Foxy. I did this specifically for you. Pulled an old beer out of the fridge.
There you go. How's it taste? How's it going down?
I gotta tell you, when you don't drink for a long period of time and you just have one, it's not the best taste, but it is a beer I enjoy. So this is a local beer, Port Rexton Brewing Company. So, you know, one of these microbreweries, and it's the one with the Citra. And I do like a beer with a little, you know, a touch of citrus orange in it. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm a shock top man. That's the kind of stuff I drink.
Well, we'll be drinking plenty of that, buddy, come next month.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. Anyways, trying to cap this off here now. So Media1Up announced today. I think the thing to take from it is it's good to see John and his team, passionate people that were very heavily involved in the early stages of Arcade1Up, either through ThinkUp or former Arcade1Up employees, getting a second chance to get another go at this, make their own product, and help other companies make product and license games as well. And also, one of the things I didn't really mention, if you look at John's LinkedIn profile, one of the other things they're doing is there's business consulting in there as well. So it's not just about licensing and, you know, giving you a heads up how to make the hardware, but there's also everything in there. As we know, John did a lot more at Arcade1Up than, you know, he gets credit for. Another thing he did was, like, he used to budget the games and stuff like that. And I know personally, like, when Arcade1Up, I don't know, their team's not all in the budgeting process, but he knew everything down to the dollar, how much this was going to take to actually make it and what the return on investment was, right? I don't know if the new team knows that, but that's the kind of business expertise he's looking to offer. And one of the reasons I'm glad I have you on here is one of the companies, you know, we're kind of pulling for and we're rooting for is Unico right now, because they're coming out with this Nova Blast. Looks really cool. But it seems like they could use a little business help at times. A little bit.
I think that it's a little bit. Obviously, well, I don't know if it's obvious or not. They are a small company.
Yeah.
And their presence in the U.S. is actually fairly small. There's not a big gang of people, big group of people that are.
Right?
It's
no,
not me. I think it's just Jay. I think Jay Mason is just in the back like the Wizard of Oz with different levers he's pulling. I think he's having to do wear a lot of different hats, and I don't think that's the right way to go. They should have a bigger presence in the U.S. They should have people dedicated to customer service. The email communication and all that is something that has to improve. I have spoken to Jay about that, and he's making some pretty good strides. He's trying. He's staying on top of it. But they do need, to your point, I think a little more guidance to kind of grow and get to that next step.
Yeah.
And if they're going to be producing more than one product, which I think that everyone knows that they are, they got the Nova Blast coming up, 2 different variants. Hopefully we'll see some kind of new MVS XL. Maybe that would be super cool.
MVS
but I think
L. That's an awesome name for it. Because
look,
MVSX
that'd be great.
L. Yeah, I like it. MVSX
and then
large.
You know. And then maybe even some other products, you know. And I think that's once again, Johnny's probably going to be helping a bunch of different people do different things. But yeah, I think Unico is definitely a small company. They need to grow in certain areas, and I think that maybe Media1Up can help them do that.
What do you know, Foxy? Give us that greasy inside Unico news.
I will never divulge anything until the proper time.
During the proper channels.
The proper time.
Yeah.
Through the proper channels. Yes. Yeah. Yes. But it's exciting. It's fun. I mean, this is fun. We kind of had a lull there, and I think things are getting more fun again, you know?
P-Dubs knocks it right on top of the head, and that's the whole point of this tonight. It's, you know, we're obviously talking about this announcement, Media1Up's coming out, and there's a little bit of excitement because, God damn it, we need it in the home arcade space. It's been pretty barren for a long time now, so it's so exciting to see somebody that's a known name with some success behind them, bringing other people that also worked in that and forming a team of specialized people with a certain set of skills that are going to possibly bring us some cool shit. But the important thing is consumers, the people who want to buy these things, and you know, there's lots of multicade options out there. There's lots of really cool multicade options out there. There's no denying that. But if you're not 100% looking for a multicade and you're looking for an arcade recreation, for the longest time, there's only been one option. It's Arcade1Up or bust. And the only other option was the Neo Geo MVSX. So for us to see all of a sudden New Wave Toys talking about doing a large-scale cab, and now all of a sudden Media1Up saying that's coming out there, we go from one option to 3 options, and that's pretty fucking exciting.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, yes, the consumers do win. Competition is great for the consumer. It drives down prices. It gives more options. It gives, multiple companies, multiple different points of view, different creative muscles can flex. We could maybe see full-size recreations of it's all over the place. We've seen kind of almost everything. I mean, we got the 1/6 scale, the 1/4 scale, the 3/4 scale. Hopefully we can keep pushing higher. Are we seeing, what would XL be? I guess that's 3/4, or maybe, I don't know what the fraction is. I don't know. I'm not good at math.
Yeah, I don't know how they explained it. Like when David McIntosh did that one update with John D and I forget who else was on it, Travis. He said that their cab is about 90%, and I agree with you. It's not 90%. Yeah. Maybe it's 90%. Not 90%. Maybe it's 90% of a smaller cab, but it's not. I think so. Of a real cab.
To compare it to like a 25-inch monitor equipped cabinet. And XL is actually closer to 3/4 than the 17-inch variants.
Yeah.
So I guess the point is can we push beyond 19-inch monitors? Can we push beyond that size, that form factor? I think there's room to grow. I think there's the appetite. Customers are willing to pay, in some cases, too much money for some of this stuff. And I think there's room to maybe go full size, or maybe really close.
Speculating, hope.
Yes.
Like, something. Okay, I'm going to talk about something else now, but hope. Okay. So some kind of Capcom Street Fighter cab, we know that's coming, but not Champion Edition.
Yep.
We're done with Street Fighter 2. What about an Alpha? What about a third straight cab? But not only that, it's in a large form factor, has a big ass screen. I'm not talking 19, I'm talking Unico 26-inch screen. What do you think of that idea?
Well, I am a Capcom fan.
Capcom?
I think I agree with you. Capcom? Capcom. What was in this? Capcom fan. I agree with you. You have to push beyond Street Fighter 2. I think Street Fighter 2 is an absolute classic. It's a beautiful game. It's all that. We know historically what it is.
We've seen 35 releases of it.
37.
Yeah.
37. 37. I would like to see, obviously, Alpha. Evercade is kind of, jumping in with the Alpha. So we got some Alpha action. Street Fighter 3 would be great also. I'd like to see them push even further. Maybe, what about, if we're sticking with Capcom, what about some of the games that were announced on this latest Capcom Fighting Collection 2 with like the Project Justice, with the Plasma Sword, Power Stone, obviously. What about Street Fighter EX? I don't think that's ever had a home release. Street Fighter EX 3, I believe, did, but EX 1 and 2 never got a home release. Why not something like that on there? Still have that 6-button layout. You still get some super bankable titles that are going to sell, but it includes some of these deep cuts. We've been talking about Alpha for a long time, Mike. On our shows, and everybody seems to be really, really excited about Alpha. So I think that's probably a no-brainer for sure. So maybe we start with Alpha. That's the oldest we go, and we push forward beyond that. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Alien versus Predator. They're coming hot out of the gates.
Toying with my emotions. That's not even funny. That hurts my feelings. But to that point, if we're speculating, another way to differentiate yourself would be go with a 3-player setup. And if you're talking about a bigger monitor, wow, we've got so much more room now to play, right? So 3 players, 4 players, whatever. And to bring some of those games, some of those 3-player games. If we're talking about AVP, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, Knights of the Round, the possibilities are there. I think the demand is there. How do they package it? What's the price? All the details matter, though.
Yeah. So one of the things we asked John earlier was we asked him about price points and stuff like that. And he said there's going to be varying price points. So there'll be options. So, of course, you see with the Nova Blast, it's got that, price point when you get in to get the stand and that. So I think we'll see something similar where there's different options, different price points. That's kind of what they're looking at. I don't know if that means that it'll be a similar model to Arcade 1-Up where you could buy large scale cab, 3/4 cab, maybe a countercade, something along those lines. We don't know yet.
Right, but the bedrock, I think the foundation of really any good arcade company would be the Couchcade. That's where you want to start, and then you just sort of build from there.
That is not where you want to start.
That's
not where
not
you
where
want
you
to
want to start.
start.
That's
Not
fair.
not the Couchcade. I think closer to what New
Not the
Wave
Couchcade.
Toys is doing with the control panels. That's a better idea. That's what the
The control
Couchcade always
panels
should have been. Yeah.
I agree. So, there's more of an appetite for a bar top type thing, or
Yeah.
maybe something you can plug into your TV that is an accurate representation
Of a
of the
control
arcade control panel.
Yeah.
Exactly. So those types of things I think make some sense. And that implies different price points for sure. Yeah. So what those price points are going to be, who knows? But it's interesting for sure.
Last thing I want to throw up there, one of the things that I know John D was heavily looking into before he left Arcade 1UP was a la carte options, downloadable content for Arcade 1UP cabs. So one of the ideas that I heard thrown out there was for a potential product. Imagine Media1Up, or they work with another company to put out a Street Fighter cab. Beautiful Street Fighter cab, looks great, has all the stuff there. But wouldn't it be great if you bought the cab and then you could add more games to it, additional games, whatever you wanted? What do you think of that option? Like the storefront model, kind of like iArcade had, but it'd be specifically based around the company. So if you buy a Capcom cab, you can add more Capcom games that make sense and work on that cabinet.
I don't know, I'm a couple binds of that. Like, okay, so what's the potential savings of stripping out all the games? You still have to build the cabinet, you have to do the artwork, all that stuff, right? What's the potential savings of just including maybe one game or three games? And then you go to the store and you download more. I mean, what would it benefit, right? Why don't you just include all those games on the cabinet itself? Because I also think about the control scheme. If it's going to be a 6-button, fighter, then
so
those buttons are going to be
they should
there
release
anyway.
a cab with 600 arcade games on it.
No. Only the ones that are only the ones that are gonna work with your controls layout.
Capcom, I mean, these cabs were designed to basically work off anything. Basically, all they sent you out was maybe new control panel art, sticker to go on the side of the cab, new marquee, and a new board, right?
Right.
So
right.
There's so many Capcom games that could work with this cabinet. The
Right.
idea of
So
doing like an a la carte option.
But then again,
you could buy Street Fighter Alpha, Big Blue.
Yes.
And then you get home and you're like, you know what's missing? Alien versus Predator. So then you go to the store and you buy it and you add it to your cabinet. You're saying it should have it up front. But what about new games they get licenses for afterwards? Wouldn't you rather have the option to just add something to your cab instead of having to buy a new cab?
Right. But would you want to, or do you think that if you spend, I don't know, what are we talking about? Let's talk about a full-size cabinet. Let's talk about $1,000. Okay, I just spent $1,000 on
I want arcade recreations. I'll buy them with one game on it. I don't really give a shit. I'm not the right person to ask this to.
But this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
To be something different than NAT Games Multicade.
Yeah.
I'm talking about how many games do they have? Let's say Capcom. How many games do they have that are six-button fighters? Or just 6-button, beat 'em ups or whatever, right? There's a long list there, sure. If they have them when they make the cabinet, why not just include all of them on it? I mean, that's a way to differentiate yourself from the rest of the pack, right? If you've got this big cabinet, it's going to cost more to manufacture. It's going to cost more up front. Why not just have all these games on it? Or if you acquire the licenses, just add those automatically. That's part of an update. Hey, guess what? We just acquired 3 more games. We're going to give them to you for free. That's kind of where I would want to be. Now, maybe if we're talking about a super budget option, bar top, $150, and then the way they can, make it super cheap is that you just include a couple games. That makes a little more sense to me. But I just don't think you're going to be able to cut a bunch of cost out of a full size or even 3/4 offering just by cutting some of the games out. But I like the idea of being able to add more games in the future. So I don't know how I feel about having to buy games. I don't know. I just, once again, what form does that take? So, but it has potential for sure.
Officially Unofficial says 19K Fox because that cab would cost $10,000 to cover the cost of all the licenses that would go on it.
Depends. If it's a Capcom cabinet.
Yeah,
I mean, How is it structured? And this is some of the stuff that we don't know. Maybe Media1Up could educate us. Do you license each individual game, or is it a Capcom umbrella license that covers all the games or most of the games, or I don't know. How does that work on the cost side of the ball?
I have no freaking idea.
I have no idea either. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know what the answer is on that. I know a lot of people. This is something a lot of people have asked for in the home arcade space. Me personally, I want to see arcade recreations. I want to see like Donkey Kong. I don't want to see anything else on it. I just want it to be Donkey Kong and have the right controls. But like, you got to cater to more than just us hardcores, right? So there has been.
Well, but I think that there's a way to do that, Mike. Like, there's a lot of games that will work with the same control setup. I don't mind those games being on the same cabinet. I don't mind that. I just don't want to be downloading something that I'm going to have to reconfigure. We get into the same Defender Midway arcade cabinet.
Everything would work. It's kind of like Arcade 1UP. Like, obviously, when you go to an Arcade 1UP, buttons and shit would all be set up. It's not like you're adding games from MAME to the Legends Ultimate or something.
Well, that's
program the buttons.
But that's what that's what I'm saying. So it's just I don't want that much of a deviation. I want to stay true to the form factor. I want to stay true to the game itself. And as long as that isn't act as an impediment to what we're trying to do here, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, it's adding more games is good, but I just don't understand why they wouldn't be on the cabinet, especially if you've got competition out there now that will give you 14 games, or when you buy the cabinet. So I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Like, they've got a lot to stand up to, because like, if they're going to come out with these accurate arcades, you got to remember the competition is sticking a Midway logo on the side of a golden Tee.
That's a high bar. That's a high bar to clear. I know for sure. So if Media1Up, John D, if he could educate us and say, listen, guys, if I stick to 10 games or less, I can save you $50 per cab. If I go over $10, well, okay, now we've got hard numbers. Now that's the discussion. Like, okay, well, now we can save some money. Now what do we do? Okay, we got to limit it to 10. Okay, or beyond 10, we switch to the downloadable model. Then I understand it. Then there's some real savings for those that maybe don't want to worry about downloading games.
I'm not saying sell empty cabs with no games on them. Obviously, you're going
to have I'm not talking about that extreme. Yeah, I'm just talking about.
I'm not telling people to go out and buy a Unico Nova Blast like 19K Fox here.
That would be crazy. Hey. We discussed this before the show.
I'm so happy my cheap setup for having you on the show worked. This is just great. I'm so happy.
I'm happy for you. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I know.
I have no clue.
But I can have for those of you who don't know.
I'm looking at me, and that's it. There's just an avatar right next to me. There's no mic at all.
All right, so I know I got to clue it up first. I got to wrap it up, Fox. I got to wrap it up. Yo, wrap it up, B.
Would you look at that?
It's time to go. No, but really quickly, last thing I want to ask you about Arcade 1UP. Obviously, just acquired some money. They say they're going to get back to making games. How confident do you feel in that message? Obviously, from the statement that went out there, this is a loan that's borrowing against their accounts receivable. Apparently, a very high interest loan. They openly admit to having cash flow issues, and basically, they're saying that this will get back to us making games. How confident do you feel moving forward with Arcade 1UP? Like, personally, I think we're going to see stuff, but in the long term, it's risky even putting this information out there in the public.
I don't expect any change of course. There's no change of direction. They're not going to get more arcade accurate. I think, listen, if this is just a loan against accounts receivable, this is for orders already coming in. And you know what those orders are? They're more sort of the generic. Let's get more pub tables. Let's get more Midway Golden Tee cabinets. I mean, let's get more Costco orders, fulfilled. And that's great for Costco. And that's great for some people that are liking some of these cabinets. I'm not going to take anything away from that. But I don't think this means... And then also the fact that we're going to get back to making games. What the hell were you doing before? I mean, really, what were you doing before? Like, was everybody just sort of at a standstill doing nothing?
Well, I think it's from what I understand internally, from what I understand, they were very disappointed with the way last year went. They went to the stores with a big action plan, game plan. They said, we're going to do all this stuff, and the stores were like, whoa, hold on. So it kind of like killed them because they didn't have the money to do it without purchase orders, right?
Right.
So
Maybe you change it up and explore something different, like a direct-to-consumer model. New Wave Toys does that every couple months.
You have to pre-sell your cabs.
You know,
that's the only way to do it because they needed the funding,
but
right?
I understand, but Mike, we do that.
Yeah,
we do that now, and I know the price point is much lower. You know, I think New Wave Toys has that to their advantage.
Yeah.
You know, so there's. I'm not saying it's a direct comparison by any means, but I think that I don't know. I mean, in your opinion, do you think that they're focused on things that excite arcade enthusiasts?
Do you like Jeopardy on the Infinity Game Board?
I don't count that as a win.
See,
no,
I'm hoping that there's something brewing. I'm an optimist. You know the way I am. So I see that they have money. They're saying this is going to fix their cash flow issues. They can get back to making games. I'm going to take the positive from it. But like I am aware, obviously, there are several negatives to it as well. It's a high interest loan. And what does this mean for the future? It means basically they need to swing and hit a home run on what they're doing right now, or you know, who knows what the future can hold.
Don't cash this check till Friday.
All right, before we go, we got a couple super chats here I want to bring up. So we got a chat from the man himself, John D., the person bringing Media1Up back to us. Make her home arcades great again. 999 super chat. John, you didn't need to do that. Thank you very much, sir. And for you specifically, we've got a very special video. All right, and we also got one from our buddy Glenn Planamento. So let me just go down and see if I can find this here. I went past it, I think. Or it disappeared. I don't know. But yeah, here we go. $10 super chat from our buddy GRS, Glenn's Retro Show. GRS is already making home arcades great again. Real quality items and fix many Arcade 1UP units 100%. I put his trackball in my Centipede cab. Huge difference. And the cool stuff that Glenn's doing with New Wave Toys, making his own replicades, and hopefully new products in the future. Thank you very much, Glenn. Super appreciated. Glenn's doing good stuff. All right, Fox. I think that's about all I really want to say on this matter. What about you? Anything else?
I'm excited, buddy. I'm excited we can talk about it. I'm excited to see what John's willing to share moving forward. And yeah, I mean, like I said, more competition, more companies, more voices, more ideas. It's maybe the shot in the arm that the home arcade community
100%
needs.
Yeah,
and just in time for Christmas. I'm excited. I think there could be something announced. I don't know. I have no idea.
I
I'm
hope
just
so.
hoping,
John was in the chat saying wait till next year, so it might be a while. Yeah.
Damn it.
We do have another super chat here from our buddy James Hates Everything. As an ex-president and CEO of Arcade 1UP, crowdfunding is a critical part of Agenda 1UP. James, you're nuts, man. I don't know what else to say here.
James taking over.
Thank
That's
you
awesome.
very much, brother. Anyways, yeah, I think we can agree to that. Crowdfunding and any of these companies, like New Wave Toys, for example, like we talked about it, they might have some fear or some apprehension about going to the full-size cab. Put it on the consumers. Like, if you got to, crowdfund it, man. And if we want it, we're going to do it.
I mean, this would be the first time it's really been done. I mean, I think, I don't know, KI Pro maybe would quantify, but it would be interesting to see somebody with John's experience work with New Wave Toys and maybe alleviate some of that trepidation and maybe encourage them to maybe go forward in a way that makes some financial sense for their company. And maybe they could really do it for real. Be like the first company and say, listen, here it is. If we can get 100 pre-orders, we'll make it. And, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's interesting. I think it's there's the possibilities are endless.
So parting message from John. He's got to leave, but he says, peace out, everyone. I'm going to take you for a ride. See, John never, ever does anything unintentionally. What does that tell you? I'm going to take you for a ride.
Marvel versus Capcom 2 reference, perhaps. Maybe.
That's a hint.
Mm-hmm.
See you soon.
Interesting.
Well, kind of. All right, guys. With that, keep an eye open. I'm sure that John's going to be on lots of other streams or involved with lots of other streams. More information is going to come out in the near future. Everybody stay tuned. I'm just excited. I'm excited to see more companies opening up, possibly bringing out home arcade products, specifically home arcade recreations, because that's what Michael B wants. And I know that's what 19K Fox wants too.
It is. It's what I want.
All right, we'll just end it there. Okay, show's
Sounds
over.
good.
I ended it. We're totally gone. So
we're totally gone?
Yeah, we're off the air. So
Yeah.
now that
Okay,
we're
good,
off the
good.
air, give us that greasy...
Off the air. Nobody's watching. Yeah.
Nobody's watching at all. Give us that greasy
Good.
inside Unico news.
Okay, you ready for this? Listen,
Yeah.
I didn't want to share this with anybody, but you might, because you
We're
and I
totally
are
off
best,
the air.
like, good
This
friends.
is totally
Good friends.
safe.
Totally, nobody's watching,
Yep,
of course.
totally safe.
Okay, picture this. Unico presents Golden Tea. Like it? Huh? I think it's gonna be a big hit.
Finally, someone tackling Golden Tea. Finally.
It's been so long. It's been minutes.
Minutes. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. 19K Fox, thank you for being a huge sport and coming on my straw and duct tape live stream production I've got going on here. Greatly
It's all fine.
appreciated. Yeah.
Anytime, buddy.
Next time, maybe I'll have another camera set up so you can at least see my face. I don't know if you want that, but at least you'll be able to see it. Anyways, guys. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you going to say something?
No. I just said it's fine. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Hey. All right. Well, anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. Stay tuned for more news. Home arcade space is heating up. Media1Up. New Wave Toys jumping into the full-scale model. Arcade 1UP. They got some money now. Let's see what the rest of this year holds. And from what we understand, 2025 might be very interesting. See you guys.
Better.